While some may prefer exotics as an ideal car, mine is a hot hatch. The reason is simple. They're lightweight, compact and don't need a huge engine to go quick. No offense, but most of the hatchbacks we get in India are more warm rather than hot. But it looks like Volkswagen India has answered our prayer with this. Welcome to Car India, and this is the Volkswagen Golf GTI. Before we wax lyrical about this hot hatch, there's a key reason why the Golf moniker coming to India for the first time is a big deal.
The reason why is because this is Volkswagen's most successful nameplate with more than 37 million units sold across 8 generations. In fact, not too long ago, Volkswagen celebrated 50 years of the Golf, half a century. It began all the way back in 1974 when the Golf had massive shoes to fill, succeeding the iconic Beetle. Designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, out went the curves and in came a sharp boxy design. It didn't take long for it to be an instant hit as it set a new template for the people's car. Over the years, the Golf gained a reputation for being a car that got the job done as it was practical, efficient, properly built, showcased German engineering prowess and importantly was priced in a way that wasn't heading into unobtainable realms. Heck, the MK1 1976 Golf GTI is the original hot hatch. It was powered by a 1.6 litre petrol engine with fuel injection tech, putting out 110 horsepower. Sure, this number isn't a big deal now, but it was back in the 70s, and with a curb weight of just 810 kgs, you got the best of both worlds. It hit 0 to 100 in just 9 seconds and had a claimed top speed of 182 km per hour. All this was enough to gain legions of fans amongst enthusiasts, with the iconic GTI DNA still present 8 generations later, which I'll tell you more about. In fact, the acronym GTI has an interesting translation. Drop a comment down below if you know what that is.
Volkswagens don't need to be flashy to make a statement, and the same is the case with the Golf GTI. Although there is a sporty element, starting with the front bumper that has a honeycomb-like mesh, and interestingly, the fog lamp housing also has a honeycomb-like mesh. That's not all, as the lights, the sleek lighting here, scream aggressive. Move over to the side and the overall proportions are pretty sleek, and you get this 18-inch alloy wheel design. Although I would have preferred a thinner spoke or something similar to the Golf R. And now we head towards the rear, where it looks a bit more normal, but you get some sporty elements such as this roof-mounted rear spoiler, a shark fin antenna, and the highlight, dual chrome exhaust ports with a pretty interesting sound.
Also, to really give it that GTI identity, there's the iconic red stripe up front and GTI logos all over.
So, stepping inside, you notice there's quite that European premium flair. The materials are soft touch yet feel like they're built to last. Now for the racy bits, you get an interesting pattern around the dashboard and the door pads. Of course, being a GTI model, there's GTI badging here, there's red accents all over. There's even a GTI theme for the digital driver display and the infotainment screen. And of course, there's this interesting tartan pattern for these sports seats, which have quite a significant side bolstering that actually feels pretty snug for when you want to go for spirited driving.
Despite it being a hot hatch, there's plenty of niceties to go around, such as a 12.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system, 10.25-inch digital driver display, a wireless phone charging pad, 30-color ambient lighting, 3-zone climate control, a panoramic sunroof, and ventilated front seats. It also has a decent bit of practicality with deep enough door pockets, cup holders, and a healthy 380 liters of boot space.
So as far as seating experience is concerned, the sports seats up front are quite roomy and the side bolstering is enough to keep you seated even while doing spirited driving. Now at the rear, you get a decent bit of knee room, headroom is also quite decent, although the leg room can be a little bit cramped up and you're not going to fit more than 2 people without some struggle. That being said, there are niceties such as a dedicated climate control for the rear AC vents, plenty of storage spaces including one right here.
Safety kit includes 7 airbags, ESC, a tire pressure monitoring system, an electronic parking brake, and a rear parking camera with front and rear sensors. There's also ADAS assist, which I didn't really get to test it out properly, although the lane keeping assist did correct the car's trajectory in a gradual way, even at speeds above 160 km per hour. You do miss out on power adjustment for the front seats, and like the Tiguan R-Line, the touchscreen handles a few too many car functions for my liking, but in the Golf GTI, you do get some hotkeys for the drive mode, climate control, assist, and the main menu.
We've got a 2-liter TSI turbo petrol engine putting out 265 horsepower and 370 Nm of torque paired to a 7-speed DSG. So how does all this matter in the driving experience? Well, we're at the best place to do it at NATRAX.
At NATRAX, we got a chance to test this hot hatch's capabilities at 2 circuits. One is the 12-km banked high-speed loop where the Golf GTI felt absolutely planted throughout, and even while testing its top speed capabilities, which we got up to 267 km per hour. Road noise was only noticeable once we crossed the 180 km per hour mark. What will really suit the enthusiasts is the drive modes that actually change characteristics of the car, right from the driving dynamics to the engine and gearbox performance, and even the growl of the engine, which gets those addictive pops, bangs and crackles. The individual mode in particular is like a pick and mix mode for the enthusiast, where you can adjust a number of parameters to your liking. The second circuit was the handling track, which had a gem of a layout filled with slow, medium and high speed corners. A perfect proving ground to take the Golf GTI's handling chops to the limit. Be it any corner you tackle, it almost feels like the car is reading your mind and allows you to do it without a hassle. Even when I forced it to understeer, it was controlled and predictable, where I could immediately react and correct the momentum. On the other hand, due to this predictability, it will be difficult to get this hot hatch wild and loose on the rear, not helped by it being front wheel drive. Yes, we don't get the Golf R in India, but the Golf GTI lives up to its iconic GTI name. As far as ride quality is concerned, it's difficult to judge considering the surfaces and NATRAX are perfect, and it would be ideal to properly test it out on everyday roads. There wasn't a feeling of unsettlement. Expectedly, sport mode will firm up the ride, but even in the eco and normal modes, it's safe to say you will have to drive the Golf GTI with a degree of caution on everyday roads, especially with its 136mm ground clearance that will have the speed breakers mischievously smiling.
At the end of it all, the Volkswagen Golf GTI is made for the enthusiast, and having all the core elements of what made the original Golf GTI and the hot hatch popular. That is, being lightweight, having great handle dynamics and having a potent engine. Now yes, this being a CBU unit means it is pricey, but it can be an alternative to the Mini Cooper S. Heck, the demand is such that the first batch of units have already been sold out. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Car India for more such content.